ENCOR Section 27 Summary Challenge: Automation and Assurance using Cisco DNA Center. Which building block of the intent-based network includes functions that ensure that the derived model-based policies are disseminated throughout any of the relevant network domains? Okay, that sounds to me like assurance, sounds as assurance. So these three first options are all building blocks of the IBN, intent-based network. IBN starts with intent, which is kind of not presented on this list. And then this intent is transformed from a form of abstraction with the translation process into specific set of commands and configurations and in general sense, which can be understood by the network devices and the technology, right? Then there is the activation phase, which applies these configurations to network, and assurance. And assurance job is to make sure everything is applied correctly, as well as it is continuously correctly applied, right? So assurance comes after activation, or it's sort of an ongoing process of making sure network is complying to the policies, right? So policies are disseminated throughout any relevant network domains, perfectly fine, and that's ensuring that these policies are matching the policies which are derived from the model. Which feature of Cisco DNA Center helps in the definition of user and device profiles that facilitate highly secure access and network segmentation based on business needs? Okay, which feature of Cisco DNA Center helps in the definition of user and device profiles? So user and device profiles are, I think that's done at the provisioning step, right? So when user and device profiles are defined. Yeah, that's definitely not a security. It should not be platform. Policy. Yeah, maybe policy. It's between policy and provision for me. Device profiles that facilitate highly secure access and network segmentation based on business needs. Okay. Helps in the definition of user and device profiles. Yeah, I think I will stick with provision. That makes more sense to me. Which option is a centralized CLI management tool to help design and provision templates in the Cisco DNA Center? So this is called Template Editor, and some details which I can recall that these templates are based on Apache Velocity, and I gave a quick check to how these templates look like, and pretty simple, right? They are, for example, one simple things you can do, you can define variables and then use these variables as part of the template, or like substitute variables with values in these templates. You can create conditions, so like if, then, else stuff, things like that. Yeah, anyway, this all is done in the template editor. Where does Cisco DNA Center store all the unique software images? It stores these software images inside itself, and the place in the GUI where this is located and can be found is called image repository. Okay, so there is no need for any external FTP or even TFTP server and Cisco DNA Design Center, I have no idea what that is. What are three primary focus areas for Cisco DNA Center assurance and analytics? Okay, focus areas. Focus areas. So assurance and analytics, that's pretty much ongoing monitoring that everything is okay in the network, right? Everything is matching the set policies, and there is no deviation from these policies. End-to-end visibility, endpoint predictability, predict performance, streaming, telemetry, licensing, and automation. Oh, okay, okay, let's see. That's probably, I will have to guess here a little bit because everything is pretty vague here. Streaming telemetry. Streaming telemetry is based on syslog and NetFlow, depending on the telemetry profile you're using. Predict performance, endpoint predictability, end-to-end visibility is probably one focus area for assurance, just to make sure everything is visible, right? And then what could be related to analytics? Licensing, probably not. Automation, probably not. And it's between endpoint predictability and predict performance. Can we predict endpoints? Probably more relevant is predict performance. That's my mostly best guess. In Cisco DNA Center, which important principle helps to lower IT costs and complexity while meeting business and user expectations? Okay, let's see. Security and compliance, analytics, automation and assurance, insights and actions. So specifically regarding to lowering the IT costs, lowering IT costs is very often related to lowering the personnel costs, right? Human labor costs, and also lowering complexity. That sounds like automation to me. I mean, like decreasing the amount of human labor used in the network management and operation, and also assurance helps to meet business and user expectations. Yeah, sounds good to me. In Cisco DNA Center, what are three server settings for network services that can be applied at a global level? Okay, which can then be inherited by all sites under the hierarchy, or they can also be overridden by each individual site. And I think there is also possible to have some like sub-sites as well. So they can be overridden on any level of this hierarchy. Okay, so there is definitely NTP and NTP. I think it was AAA, NTP, and something else. Yeah, I think I remember this more or less, that it's about AAA, DNS, and maybe DHCP and NTP. So I'm struggling here to understand how I should choose only three options here, because let me read this again. In Cisco DNA Center, what are three server settings for network services that can be applied at the global level, which can then be inherited by all sites under the hierarchy? So it's DHCP, NTP, and AAA. So this option, and this option, and this option. I would select these, but I only need to select three. So this just because IRC is complete outlier, it has nothing to do with this at all. If that's what it means, like Internet Relay Chat, very old protocol. Okay. Now I will have to select, I guess, DHCP, authentication, NTP. I mean, the whole AAA. authentication, authorization, and accounting can be applied. Global level and then inherited. Ah, I, I hate to answer this question because I'm struggling to choose what to not include in my answer. Okay, let's go this way. Let's just keep authentication. Which three options correctly define the features of Cisco DNA Center? Features of Cisco DNA Center. Okay, pretty straightforward, high level. User and device profiles that facilitate highly secure access and network segmentation based on business needs. Yeah, I think so. Device and network radius-based authentication services through third-party FTP services. What? Radius-based authentication services through third-party FTP services. That's complete nonsense. On an open and extensible platform allows third-party applications and processes to exchange data. Yes, definitely. This is thanks to the open API or application programmable interface architecture. Server profiles that limit access to avoid unnecessary network segmentation. Server profiles that limit access to avoid segmentation. That's again looks like complete nonsense to me. Zero-touch device provisioning and software image management. Yes, this is a correct answer because, yeah, there is possibility using the plug-and-play protocol primarily, and to do zero-touch device provisioning. Basically, device would be able to find the PNP server itself and grab all the necessary information from there, including its software image as well as its day zero configuration. Okay. Storage, area, network, and server provisioning and configuration management. No, that has nothing to do with server provisioning, right? So DNA Center can do a lot of things, but in terms of provisioning or initial setup of devices, it has everything to do with network devices like routers, switches, and firewalls, maybe wireless controllers, but not servers, right? So this is probably something completely different. Okay, let's check the results and any errors. Okay, I have got 2 questions wrong. I will review and come back with correction. Okay, and the couple mistakes I had, they were actually in question 1 and question 2. So question 1, my fault. Which building block of the IBN includes functions that ensure that the derived model-based policies are disseminated throughout any of the relevant network domains? Okay, so I confused a little bit, and this part here, the policies are disseminated. This is about the initial dissemination of the policies, right? And this is not part of the assurance, this is part of the activation. And correct answer here is activation, right? And assurance comes later on as a next step. When kind of policies are disseminated, they are there in place, assurance process begins. And the assurance process is an ongoing process of making sure that everything is compliant to the policy, okay? And question 2, which feature of Cisco DNA Center helps in the definition of user and device profiles that facilitate highly secure access and network segmentation based on business needs? So I said it's provisioning, but it's actually policy, right? And it makes sense, of course, because what is provisioning? Provisioning is pretty much the onboarding a device as a box, as a physical box in a specific role of this device, right? But these things like user and device profiles, they exist on a slightly different level, right? So they are applied to this box already. So that's where user and device profiles are defined. And this is the policy part. All right, so these are just 2 errors, and other questions, they all make sense. except question 7, I think, which I am still not sure. Just a lucky guess for me, I think, because I think authorization and accounting, they are also part of these server settings, which can be configured or applied on the global level, right? Because the course says it's AAA, NTP, and DHCP, and I think also DNS, right? But anyway, it is what it is.